My ex-wife refused to let our 8-year-old be the flower boy at my wedding, so told him she was taking him on vacation that day instead. When I confronted her about the lie, she violently shook him and called him a brat for crying. My ex-wife and I were married for 10 years, and we had 2 sons, Ethan and Gabe. It's been 6 years since we divorced because she cheated on me with a freshman in college and left me for him. She didn't make it easy, always commenting on my body, saying I had let myself go, that being married to me had become a chore. Ethan was only 10 then, but he understood everything, and he comforted me while I fell apart. Gabe was too young to know what was happening. Then, on the very day my ex married her affair partner, I met Claire. She found me crying on the roof at work during my lunch break and stayed with me the whole day. She had lost her own husband and only son in a car accident years before, and she was everything my ex wasn't. Gentle, patient, mindful of my feelings. Our relationship grew from there. After a year, Ethan started calling her mom, and she cried the first time it happened. Gabe calls her Mommy Claire, and her heart melts every time. We had a baby a year ago. She proposed while she was pregnant, and we've been planning our wedding ever since. Ethan is one of my groomsmen, and Gabe is my flower boy. He practices walking down the aisle in the backyard, beaming. The problem is that Gabe still goes back and forth between houses. My wedding is in 2 weeks, and my ex was fine with it at first, but now she refuses to bring him to get ready, saying she won't give up her days for some party. The wedding falls on a Tuesday, her day, and I can't change the date because everything is booked. I even offered to trade her a full week of my days. She refused. This Friday, I went to pick up Gabe, and Ethan was furious. He said Gabe was in tears because their mother had told them she was taking them on vacation on my wedding day, a lie to keep him away. I stomped into her house and demanded she tell him the truth. I called her a coward. She finally caved and admitted there was no vacation. She just didn't want him at my wedding. Gabe sobbed that he hated her and ran to Claire, hugging her tight. That's when my ex yanked him away, violently shook him, and called him a brat who doesn't appreciate his mom. I saw red and slapped her. She raised her hand to hit me back, but Claire grabbed her wrist and pushed her away. We left with Gabe since it was my custody time anyway. When we got home, Ethan asked if it was possible to keep Gabe with us forever. Then he told me what had been happening behind closed doors. Their mother had been angry ever since I started dating Claire, saying I had downgraded and that Claire would never replace her. It got worse when Claire got pregnant. When Gabe called Claire Mommy Claire in front of her, she started lashing out at him for every tiny mistake. She even forced both boys to call her new husband Dad. Ethan refused. Gabe was too scared not to. Ethan doesn't even have to visit her anymore, but he goes anyway, just to protect his little brother. He never told me because he saw how happy I finally was, and he didn't want to take that away. My 16-year-old had been standing guard over an 8-year-old this whole time, and I never knew. I spent that night making hot chocolate and holding both my boys on the couch while Claire took care of the baby. The next morning, I started calling lawyers, one after another. The first said one incident wasn't enough to change custody. The second said the same. By the third call, I felt completely defeated. They all wanted a documented pattern, not just one terrible day, but Ethan had been recording. Quietly for weeks, he had been saving videos and messages on his phone, and he showed me things that made my hands shake. My ex screaming at Gabe, calling him ungrateful and spoiled, over nothing at all. The wedding was now 8 days away. My ex had already enrolled Gabe in a day camp for that exact afternoon and thrown away his flower boy suit, claiming it took up too much space. Gabe had stopped eating. He was having nightmares. I had one lawyer left to call, an emergency hearing that might not even be scheduled in time, and a folder full of evidence that could either save my son or blow up in my face. And I still had no idea whether any judge would listen before it was too late. Click here to watch part 2 of the story.